Painkiller is an interesting franchise. It has a cult following. People that like the game really like the game. But unless you're one of those people or you're in the know about first-person shooters, you probably don't even know what Painkiller is. I mean, the game that most Painkiller fans will tell you is the only one really worth playing is Painkiller Black, which came out in 2004, 21 years ago. Meaning if you were born the year this game came out, you've been able to vote for years now. And I guarantee you, almost none of them know what Painkiller is. In comes 3D Realms with the new Painkiller game that is a reimagining of sorts of the old Painkiller franchise. Hey, Derek here. I'm a dragon on the internet, and this is where I have to tell you that this video is sponsored by 3D Realms. With that said, it is quite literally my job to tell you the good and the bad of games, so I'm going to be blatantly honest about what I think is good and bad and tell you my honest opinion on whether I think this game is worth it or not. I am someone that does enjoy the original Painkiller game, so I do have some mixed opinions, and I'll get to them in the conclusion at the end. By 3D Realms' own description, Painkiller is a reimagining of the original game. You can get it on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and on PC via Steam. But what does reimagining mean? Well, it's a 3-player co-op game that also has full offline support. The base combat is relatively the same. You're trapped in purgatory and you battle hordes of demons and other horrible monstrosities. But the general format is quite different. First, let's start with optimization on the PC release. And here, I'm actually quite impressed. It has every option you would expect it to have. I'm not going to dwell on the menus too much, but if you want something to exist, it is in the menus. So the customization factor is there, but more importantly, this game runs very smooth. I didn't have any stuttering, I didn't have any lag, I didn't crash once. My PC is a couple of generations behind as far as parts go. I'm running on an AMD 5800X, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and a 3080, so not a bad build, but again, a couple of generations behind both CPU and GPU. And with the settings completely maxed out, I was having no issues. The frame rate was steady, and the game just played well. I didn't have any mouse acceleration, aiming was fine once I got the correct sensitivity, and yeah, just a solid PC release. As for graphics, well, it's not going to win Graphics of the Year, but it definitely doesn't look bad. What caught me more was the gothic aesthetic of the first game. Some of these things carried over to this new game really well. Every once in a while I would stop just to take in the environment. Don't get me wrong, it's not like you're playing Space Marine 2 with its massive environments, but it definitely looks good. This is also true with the weapons. The first 2 weapons you get are the ones that probably come to your mind immediately when you think Painkiller. You get the stake gun, which is just as fun as it was in that first game, enemies go flying, and you get that fully automatic weapon that fires electric shurikens. Oh, also you get the spinny blade thing. I forget the names of all these weapons, it doesn't really matter, they're fun. That's all you need to know. More importantly to this section here is that they look like they fit in the original game. The designs are a little bit different, but in a way that seems like they should look in a sequel, if that makes sense. So okay, the game looks good and it runs good. What's the story like? Here's where I get some of my first complaints. The game starts with an opening cutscene showing Purgatory overrun by demons, under control of a fallen angel known as Azazel. You are a mortal stuck in Purgatory with the whole goal of stopping Azazel, or so you were told. See, the problem I have with this is that Azazel never really acts very hostile to you. If anything, he talks friendly to you throughout the entire game. It's almost like the Pagan Min situation, where it's hard to see if Pagan Min is really the enemy or not, and it really doesn't feel like he is. You would argue that that's the point and that's good writing, but I would say it's hard to tell because it's not written particularly well. But that's not really your goal in this game anyway. You see, you can choose between one of 4 characters, and throughout the course of the game, you find out how these characters ended up in Purgatory, and more importantly, what you have to do to get to heaven. However, the way this is expressed to the player is kind of flawed. You see, you get all of your story of these characters through the characters talking to each other as you're playing the game.
I do wonder if we are here by accident.
I wonder too. I saved an Archangel and paid with my life. Surely that's enough to pass into heaven.
Not through any cutscenes or any quiet moments. There are 2 problems with this. The first one is that it's kind of hard to pay attention to story stuff happening when you have hordes of demons running at you. But more importantly, if dialogue with a higher priority starts, say forced level dialogue, like a horde peak or the start of an objective or an arena, that just interrupts this narrative dialogue and stops it entirely, so you miss it. That's kind of a really big problem, and I think this dialogue probably should have played out in the main hub instead of as you're playing through missions so that this doesn't happen. It's a little bit of a shame because the dialogue between characters can be quite interesting. I personally wanted to know the backstory of these characters. How did they end up in purgatory? What happened? Oh, also, without giving out any spoilers, the ending I did find to be quite underwhelming. But okay, none of this really matters if the gameplay is fine, so how's the gameplay? Thankfully, not that bad. As I mentioned, you play as one of 4 characters, which makes me confused as to why this is a 3-player co-op game and not a 4-player co-op game. These characters are Ink, Void, Soul, and Roach. Now, you would think that these characters give you unique abilities, but not really. Honestly, they're kind of a non-factor. What these characters do is they passively buff your energy, health, damage, and ammo. The character that buffs your ammo pool is kind of completely useless because you have a pretty large ammo pool to begin with, and if you want to get your ammo back, you just go full lawnmower mode on demons. Yeah, this just gives you your ammo back and it does it pretty quick, so you really don't have a reason to pick this character. The health one is moderately useful, I guess, but really the energy and damage output are by far the most useful. You see, all of your weapons have unique split functions that will cost some energy. This does recharge, but by choosing this character, it recharges faster, and this is very useful. The character I preferred to play as was Void, which just gets a straight up 10% increase in damage across the board, at least with his guns anyway. You see, the format this game goes for is almost wannabe looter shooter. It kind of is, but it's kind of not. It's kind of mostly just a linear choose the level and go kill enemies kind of game. When you go over here to select what you want to play, it will say to select a raid, but really this is just a level, not a raid. These raids have 3 different biomes, and in each biome has 3 different levels. Each biome also has a boss. So you go here, you select what level you want to play as, you play through that level, and then once you're done, you get tossed back into this hub. And you get currency. There's 2 different types of currency. The first one is gold, and the second one are ancient souls. These are used for different things. The gold is used to buy new weapons, and to go into the tarot card lottery. It costs 3k to go into the lottery to get a tarot card. When you equip a tarot card, it'll be used on that next level. After that level, it becomes broken, which you can repair with ancient souls, or just hope you get another one through the lottery. Tarot cards do things like 30% increase in damage, which, if you're using Void like I was, you now just have a 40% increase in damage, which is nuts. Or maybe you'll find another one that just gives you more gold throughout this level, which, if you're trying to unlock new guns, is pretty useful. These can do a lot of different things that are pretty useful, or they can be ignored entirely if you don't want to bother. As for the Ancient Souls, you can also use them to upgrade your weapons. There is a bunch of different things your weapons can do. The most obvious changes are these split functions. Take the revolver, for example. You can get an upgrade that makes it so that when you aim down this scope, it will just become a mini rocket launcher. That shot is very strong and explodes. However, if you master that weapon by getting a certain amount of headshots or critical hit damage, then you can buy an upgrade to that split function so that it'll make every single headshot branch out like explosive fireworks to nearby enemies. Or you can have a basic upgrade that makes basically every shot be explosive if you land a crit. These are only a couple of the upgrades. These weapons get insane and the revolver is insanely good. My go-to personally was a combination of the revolver and the shotgun. The shotgun is my favorite weapon in the game. Aside from just being the cool double barrel pump action design, it's also insanely strong. One of the masteries for this weapon is to just jib enemies with the shotgun. And one of the upgrades you can get will make every single time you jib an enemy, cause it to explode shotgun shells out of it. Then you can also get a split function that will freeze enemies in front of you. This can be upgraded to split to more enemies, causing a cascading effect, which can then be upgraded to leave a pool of ice behind them. So with this loadout of revolver and shotgun, you have the shotgun for up close, and then the revolver for damage control or crowd control at range. Also, this revolver split function that causes explosions deals with heavies extremely well. It just melts mini bosses. It does so much damage. I actually think that this energy might need to be nerfed a little bit with the revolver. It's a bit too strong. But you get the point. All these weapons have insane upgrades, and this is pretty fun. This also brings up another point that old Painkiller fans might be a little upset about. You can only carry 2 weapons because of this format. Like I said, the general format of this game is quite a bit different from the old game. The combat and the chaos around it is relatively the same, but the actual way you get to that is very different. Another difference in the combat is that every once in a while you'll have to do an objective. And these usually boil down to pick up an item and then kill enemies near said item and then toss the item where it needs to be. For the most part, you're going into an arena, needing to kill all the enemies, and then going into the next arena. All of this with the goal of, I want to upgrade this next gun, or buy this other gun, or maybe try to get another tarot card, you know, looter shooter type stuff. But the core combat itself kind of reminds me of Doom 2016, when they took the old Dooms and tried to make it more modern. That seems like what they're doing here, taking the old Painkiller and trying to make it more modern. You have a jump, you have a dash, you have a slide that will continuously slide until you let go of the slide button, given your stamina allows it. But there is no sprint, you're just running at full speed all the time, and dash and slide makes you even faster. I will give this game a lot of praise when it comes to the bosses though. I think these bosses have really cool designs and were in general very fun. Again, these bosses reminded me of the bosses in Doom 2016, which is high praise because I also loved those, and I thought those were better than Doom Eternal's bosses, despite thinking that Doom Eternal is better in every other way. These large demonic designs are really cool looking, but more importantly, it's easy to tell when they're going to attack, so it doesn't feel cheap, and it also doesn't feel too easy. And their designs just look and feel original. Again, if they had a boss rush mode with like 12 different bosses, I would be all over that. But what is there to do after you beat the 3 biomes? Well, there is an extra roguelike style mode that they've added in on the side, and this has some content that you don't actually see in the campaign at all. Here you don't rely on the upgrades you've unlocked throughout the campaign. Here you start with a couple of weapons, and then you have the choice between getting more guns / upgrades, an item to drop down being health or ammo or a decoy, or tarot cards. Then you go into the next battle and do it again. Some of these are totally different, like needing to pick up an item and carry it up an entire pyramid structure thing without dying, or having to run through this area CS surf style while your health is draining. All of this finally comes to one of the end boss battles. I actually found this to be quite fun. I think I liked the roguelike mode more than the base campaign. I know a lot of people groan when they hear the word roguelike, but so many different mechanics have blended together in FPS roguelikes to make really fun experiences. We wouldn't have things like RoboQuest without roguelikes. Sulfur wouldn't exist either. And Sulfur is like a combination between an extraction shooter, a looter shooter, and a roguelike. All of this is blending to make some real special stuff. So, what's my final conclusion? How do I feel about this Painkiller reimagining? Well, I'm a bit conflicted, because I do genuinely like that old Painkiller experience, and this isn't really a sequel to that, it is, again, a reimagining. But I'm also accepted to what they did. I like this format, and I was having fun. I can 100% understand if you are a die-hard old Painkiller fan and this change pisses you off and you don't like this game. I get it. For example, I'm still irrationally bitter about Prey 2017. I loved that original Prey. I was super excited for Prey 2. We never ended up getting that. Instead, we got an immersive sim, which is something I don't care about at all. So I'm angry about it, and I don't like it. I don't like that game at all. I don't like its existence. I hate that it's called Prey. But at the same time, if I liked immersive sims, I probably wouldn't care. That's kind of how I look about this new Painkiller game. It's not a bad game. For what it is, it's actually quite fun. But the few old Painkiller fans left, I imagine, might not like the change. Some might be receptive to it. Others that have no idea what Painkiller is will probably have some fun. Would I personally recommend it? Yeah, probably. I do like the format and I did have fun. It's definitely not a bad game and it's polished and well done. That's about where I stand with this. If you're looking for a fun co-op game, then yeah, check it out. A huge thanks to my YouTube members, especially you, Hambone and Altarius. They get to see my videos early, and also just in general, they help pay some of my rent, so massive thank you. I literally could not make these videos without you guys. If you want to support me in other ways, then here's a full playlist of videos just like this. Lots of content over the years I've made about this kind of thing. There's a recommended video down there. If you want to subscribe, that is also on the page. Or if you want to check out my Twitch, where I stream once a week, it's right here. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.